Hey guys, today we're going to talk about some EBT myths that may be stopping you from getting all of the benefits that you deserve. These are all things that I've heard from people in our comment section, and I'm excited to help clear this up for you today. First, just a quick shout out to our sponsor, Free Cash. They have a great app that helps you make a little extra money when you need it. You can get paid to play games, test new apps, and more. Check that out at the link that you see there on screen. Now, without further ado, let's dive in here and talk about these myths. Number one, and I saw this one just last week, you need a permanent address to apply for EBT. That is not true. You can qualify even if you're homeless or between addresses. You do need a mailing address, though, but you can get that pretty easily. You can ask the post office about general delivery. You can also ask to use a shelter, service provider, trusted friend, or agency address instead. You do not have to live at your mailing address. You just have to be able to get mail there. So if you are homeless, please don't hesitate to apply because you may still qualify for those benefits. Myth number two, I don't qualify because I have a job. This is also false. There are millions of low income workers who receive SNAP assistance. In fact, statistics show that 15.7 million workers received SNAP in 2022. That's about 10% of all workers in the US, according to what I read. About 28% of all SNAP households have earned income. About 55% of SNAP households that include children have earned income. In fact, the SNAP calculation itself includes a 20% earned income deduction, which means that about 20% of your earned income doesn't even count toward your income for the purposes of SNAP. Remember, benefits do adjust with your income, and you can report changes to your hours, employment status, and so on. So even part time and low wage workers may qualify. Now, myth number three is that you have to pay or receive child support to get SNAP. I haven't seen this one so much in our comment section as I see it in other Facebook groups and Reddit and places like that where people are discussing SNAP benefits. There is a big fear out there, especially among single moms, that if they don't know the father, or if they're not on good terms with the father, or if it's been maybe a domestic violence situation, that they're going to have to interact with that person in order to get the food benefits for themselves and their children. And that is not true in most cases. In 44 areas, you are not required to participate or cooperate with child support to get SNAP, according to Propel. There are only 9 states that require child support cooperation, and those include Arkansas, Florida, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Mississippi, Nebraska, and South Dakota. And even in those states, there are exceptions for good causes, such as domestic violence or other situations where it just may not be possible for you to cooperate with that system. So please don't let this hold you back from getting the food benefits that you need and deserve. Myth number 4 is that you can't own a home or a car. Your home and lot are exempt from the USDA's SNAP asset test. They should never count against you. And there are a lot of rules about when and how your vehicle should count. So your vehicle should not count as an asset if you are living in it, if it's being used for income producing purposes, if it is needed to transport a disabled household member, or if it's needed to carry the household's fuel or water supplies. It's also exempt if the sale value is worth less than $1,500. Now, if the vehicle has a fair market value of more than $4,650 and it has an equity value, meaning that you owe less than it could be sold for, then they will use the greater of those two valuations to figure out how much of a resource it counts as. There is also some fluidity in this by state. We've seen states get different waivers and issue different regulations for how vehicles are counted. But ultimately, you shouldn't let that hold you back from applying. The worst they can do is say no, right? And if you tell yourself no, then you're just removing that opportunity. So I would still apply even if you aren't sure whether or not your vehicle would count against you. Myth number 5 is that you have to have kids to get SNAP. That is not true. Single adults, seniors, and people with disabilities can qualify too, even if they don't have kids in their household. Eligibility is based on your household size and income and resources, not whether or not you have children. So it is important to note, though, that able-bodied adults without dependents can only receive SNAP for 3 months in a given 3-year period unless they are meeting work requirements. but those work requirements can include volunteering, and we've talked about that extensively in other recent videos. So if you have questions about that, go check out our other videos. Myth number 6 is that every person you live with has to apply, and that is also false. The USDA clearly says on their website, everyone who lives together and purchases and prepares meals together is grouped together as one SNAP household. Note that it's not just everyone who lives together. You also have to purchase and prepare meals together in order for this to apply. So there are some exceptions, though. Some people, like your spouse and any children under the age 22, will always be included in your household. But roommates who don't share food with you don't have to be counted. You don't have to worry about their income or anything like that. There is another loophole here that if you are over the age of 60 and you're unable to purchase or prepare meals separately because of a permanent disability, you and your spouse may be counted as a separate SNAP household, even if you live with other people who are low income. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Myth number 7 is that you may have to pay SNAP back someday. It absolutely breaks my heart, but I have heard people say in the comments, oh, well, I can't afford to get SNAP because I'm never going to be able to pay that back. Or, I'd be afraid of the bill when it came in. And that is so sad because SNAP is not a loan. You don't have to repay those benefits as long as you were correctly eligible to receive them. The only exception to this is if there was an overpayment, like an agency error or unreported changes, or you committed some sort of fraud. If the government finds out that you received more than you should have received, then you may get an overpayment notice. But even then, you can appeal. You can ask for a repayment plan, a reduction, or a waiver if the error wasn't your fault. There are options there, but typically most people who receive SNAP never have to repay those benefits. That is not how that works. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Please share it with someone else that you know. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Free Cash, as well. And if you're interested in more EBT news, like the recent COLA announcement, or any information about those work requirements, please go check out our other videos. We have a ton of them on those subjects. And I'll be back soon with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff.